everybody. Welcome into Perspectives. I'm Sam Jones, and it's terrific to have you here with us today. Our first guest is Maggie Regan, Oxley Nature Center.
Got it. Yes.
Good Lord, child. That's an incredible amount of property we're talking about. How many acres?
Yes, it is. We have just over 800 acres of wildlife sanctuary at Oxley.
And you guys are taking care of it, preserving it, and yet it's open to the public.
That's correct. Yeah. So the 800 acres is located at the kind of the north end of Mohawk Park, or within the confines of Mohawk Park. And that 800 acres is dedicated to the preservation and the conservation of wildlife and the natural ecosystems. But we also maintain it so that there are 9 miles of trails within Oxley so that people can come enjoy the wildlife and just relax and get out and be in nature.
It's one of the better kept secrets that Oxley Nature Preserve or Park, however you want to look at it, is like it was, virtually untouched from day one. How have you managed to do that?
Well, Oxley has an interesting history. It was really established as a wildlife sanctuary in the 70s, and that was a result of a dedicated group of naturalists and people dedicated to conservation really wanting to preserve the area. Now, before that, it has an interesting history also. A lot of the work that has been done on that land, like one of the bridges and some of the shelters, were actually built by the Civilian Conservation Corps back in the 1930s.
The old CCC.
Yeah, exactly. So if you come to Oxley, you can walk across the CCC bridge, and actually the marsh out there, or the swamp area, used to be fish hatcheries back in the 1930s too.
No kidding.
So there's just a lot to learn out there, and a lot to learn about what was going on before that too. So there has been some human work at play there, but for the most part, it's really been preserved for the natural ecosystems to thrive.
Have a lot of tours.
Well, we do a lot of school tours. Yeah, we have a lot of school groups come visit every spring and every fall. And actually this summer, we'll be hosting a lot of summer camps and summer schools out there too. Don't
be offended, but there is so much about Oxley that I had to make notes.
Sure.
I had to sit and I'm going to refer to them now.
Okay.
There are wildflower walks.
True, yeah.
Tell us about that.
So we have on staff people who are just really knowledgeable with botany in general, and then specifically with all the native flora growing at Oxley Nature Center. So on the third Saturday of every month, we have these group botany walks. So right now we're calling them wildflower walks, which just started this month because this month is the first month that we're really seeing a lot of the native wildflowers in bloom. So those will continue monthly throughout the year. So we'll have those on the third Saturday in May, June, July, and continuing on. And those are at 10:30, and they're just a good opportunity to learn from our naturalists about what's blooming, but visitors who come to those walks are also given the opportunity to ask questions about what they might see blooming in their own yards or in their own neighborhoods.
Since the land is, for the most part, virtually untouched, even though you have the trails, you have bridges for some areas, there are still events that appeal not only to the general public, but to a specific type of person. For example, birding events.
Yeah.
About that, how does that work?
Well, so there is a dedicated community of avid birders in the area, and we're lucky enough to have on staff somebody who's extraordinarily knowledgeable about all the bird species at Oxley, which there are over 200 bird species identified on Oxley property. And so the first Saturday of every month, all the birders meet in the parking lot. And that has to be a little bit earlier because you can see more birds earlier in the morning. So they meet at 8 a.m. And we do have a dedicated group of repeat birders.
Repeat offenders.
Yeah, repeat offenders. I didn't want to say it. But those are also open to the public, and we invite people who are just amateurs or just interested to come out, because you can learn so much, and then you can start to get kind of what it feels like to see a new bird for the first time, which is really exciting for a lot of folks.
So bring your binoculars.
Bring your binoculars,
All
yes.
right. Weekend events for children. I'd be curious to know how that operates.
Sure, yeah. We have a couple of programs that go on for kiddos, and actually for the summer, we'll take a break from one of our most robust programs, which is called Junior Naturalists, and that runs through the school year. So we'll start that back up in September. So our group of junior naturalists from this year is just about to graduate. So we'll have a little celebration for them this year. But those are going to be meeting every Saturday once September starts again, and people will need to pre-register for that. But those are for ages 8 through 12, and they explore everything from soil science to ornithology to entomology, and that's also led by one of our staff naturalists.
So in addition to just enjoying it, it's also an incredible learning experience, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah, our whole idea is to kind of cultivate the wonder that comes with connecting with the natural world. So we also have full moon hikes every month on the full moon. And so that's the only time that we really have any guided programming at night, but it's a whole different experience to be out on the trails in the night and
I want to ask
the
about,
nightlife.
very quickly about two more things, and
Sure.
we've only got about a minute and a half.
Great.
BJ's Pond.
Yeah, it's there.
What is it?
It's there. So BJ's Pond, that was
Set up to,
well, Lake Sherry actually was dug by the Conservation Corps, and the pond was BJ's Pond was also dug, and that's right outside the interpretive center, and it's surrounded by prairie, so there's a little trail that wraps around the pond, and there's also a little spot where you can walk out, and there's a bench out there, and you can observe everything that's happening on the shoreline.
there's also, as I understand it, now correct me, because I'm really learning to,
Okay.
as I understand it, there's a place where they go so far in, then you stop, there's a covered area where you can sit down and eat, or is there a place to buy sandwiches and that sort of thing?
Actually, there's no food for sale on site. We do have some covered picnic areas, so you're welcome to bring your own food out there and enjoy, especially Fawn Grove has a covered picnic shelter and plenty of seating.
Got about 30 seconds. How do I get to the entrance? How do you navigate to get to?
So we're at the north end of Mohawk Park. So you can enter Mohawk Park from 36th Street North. So it's like you're going to the zoo. And then once you're inside Mohawk Park, you just follow the signs to Oxley Nature Center. We're at the north side of it, and you can't miss it.
Got a fantastic website too, I might add.
Thank you, yes.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you,
Do
Sam.
appreciate it. And we may find a way to get you back, because there's more we need to know about it, okay?
Fantastic. Thank you for
so
having
much for
me.
being a part of it. Short break. We'll be back with more right after this.